Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Neighborhood Conversations, where we chat about inclusive conversations, welcoming inclusive leaders who are doing amazing things in community. And we're bringing it back to our neighborhood, which is TEAMWork Cooperative, and we're talking about one of our amazing programs called the MentorAbility program. And we have today the program coordinator, Dave Warrington, and he's going to bring so much connection to us. Dave, welcome to the Neighborhood Conversations. How are you?
Well, thank you there. It's always nice to talk with you, Templeton. You always bring a lot of enthusiasm and joy into everything you do, so I'm happy to be here.
Dave. Compliments are always good. Compliments are always good. It's really good to have you actually on the podcast today, where we get to talk about the mentorability program. But before we go, Dave, just tell us about yourself and one word to describe you.
Well, why don't I start out with the one word? So I
Okay.
like to think of myself as sort of dependable. People
Okay.
can count on me, whether it's family members, friends, where I work. I've always been known as dependable. I take my responsibilities seriously, whether it's in community or my work life. So a little bit about my sort of background is I was for a number of years in Halifax. I ran a number of businesses on Spring Garden Road. I had a couple of grocery stores, butcher shops, delicatessens, and that. I did that for probably 20 years. And it came at a time where I was looking, you know what? I've done this for a long time and I need to do a bit of a change. So, what am I going to do? So, I decided at that time I'm going to go back to school. And I went to school and did my university degree. So when I came out of school with my university degree, then it's the same as any other student, whether you were an older student like me or a younger student. What do I do? Right? I got this degree. What do I do? So I start looking around. And one thing when I was in business, it wasn't a great work life balance. You know, you're working those 60 plus hours a week. There's a lot of responsibility and had a young family. So I started taking a look at not for profit and working in that area as a way maybe I would be able to achieve a little bit better work for life balance. And the trade off with that, maybe I wouldn't make so much money, but that's okay if I can achieve sort of that balance.
Right.
So I started out working with an organization called Independent Living Nova Scotia. They ran a program for youth with disabilities called Access to Community Education and Employment. And they needed someone to do some job development and eventually needed someone to manage the entire program. So I went and started working with them, and it was a wonderful experience working with youth. They were youth just coming out of high school. They need a little bit of help transitioning into further education or employment, whatever they decided. And we provided that support. And it was a 1 year program. So it was a great time.
Wow, that's really amazing, Dave. That you are definitely dependable. I definitely would see that word as describing you. And it's so amazing to get to know more about the entrepreneurial side of you and also your passion for the nonprofit sector. And now I can see why you landed here at TEAMWork Cooperative with connecting with the program of mentorability. And now let's just transition. I feel that it's always good that you played a key role at TEAMWork Cooperative, and I know in numerous roles as the Opportunity Fund, and then now you transitioned into mentorability, which gives you a lot of skills, and we thank you for that. So tell us a bit about the mentorability program and when this all started.
Okay, well, the mentorability program, it originally was a pilot program. I think we're going to be moving out beyond the pilot phase. Um, Nothing completely official yet, but it's looking like it's going to move forward. And it was a program that was designed by the Canadian Association of Supported Employment called CASE, who works with people with disabilities. And it's a national organization, and this is a national program. So, what they were looking at is trying to give people with disabilities good information so that they can make good career choices for themselves. Because one thing I found, like before I went to university and got into business and that, I actually went to community college and I went through a program called Machine Shop. I was a machinist. I did great. It was fantastic, 2 years and that. Then I went out into the workforce, and you know what happened? I found out in the workforce, it's nothing like what I learned in school. A
Yeah.
completely different thing.
Yeah.
I hated it. So I wish I would have
That's
known
good.
that before I invested 2 years in college. That you know what, it's very different. So what we want to do is be able to give people with disabilities that real world information so they can make an informed career choice for themselves. Because a lot of times in the past, particularly through school and that, people with disabilities have had other people making decisions for them
Yeah.
and they haven't had choices. And what we believe is everybody needs to have choice and everybody can make informed decisions for themselves if you give them good information. So what we're trying to do is get that good information so they can make that informed choice about the careers they're interested in before they spend 2 years and thousands of dollars.
Wow, wow. Dave, that's really important. I feel like that brings a lot of good connection to persons with disability. And like you said,
Yeah.
giving them an independent choice to make where they want to go. But I feel like this program, I totally agree with that phrase you say, like, everything in academia is not what goes into the real world. So you have to actually have that balance of both to experience that connection. Speaking about mentorship guidance and all that good stuff, why is mentorship important to this program? And yeah, yeah,
So this is where we can connect with the employers. So maybe a person with disability is interested in a particular organization or a particular career choice. And the program, the way it's designed, it has more than one goal. So there's the goal of giving persons with disabilities good information so they can make informed choices for themselves, but it's also working with employers who are interested in building a more diverse and inclusive workforce. So, in some cases, employers might feel a little bit comfortable around the word disability. They don't know what that could mean. Is there any risk involved? Like, is there communication things? Are there accommodations or any of those kind of and misconceptions? Well, we can work with employers
right,
on those things. So this is a very easy way for an employer to get exposed to working with a very diverse workforce, people with disabilities, with the support of an organization as well. All the employer needs to commit to is talk about the work that they do.
yeah,
And you know what? People like talking about the work that they do in
yeah,
general. You go to a pub or something, you have a beer after work. Most of the time, what happens? You start talking about work,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
people do like that. So this is an easy way for an employer to start branching into. Okay, you know what? We really do want to start being more inclusive. We want to be exposed to a more diverse sort of population in that. And so this is an easy way for them to get exposed to working with people with disabilities with some support. Sometimes this leads to employment as well, because the other thing employers find, you know what? It's really great to talk with people who are interested in the
yeah,
work that we do. So
yeah,
it starts
yeah,
out
yeah.
good footing.
Yeah, and that's really important. It helps employers to stay engaged with community. And like you said, that passion, that word passion for employers to share about their organization, which gives the potential employees and the passion to want to work at that organization. I always say
Yeah.
that I always like to have that building relationship with a organization before working with them. And I think that that's something that's really important for employers to get out in the community, to find those good employees and share about their organization, and also so that and be open for them to come in and share their expertise and all that good stuff. How can employees get involved?
So the easy way for an employer to get involved is they could contact me, they
Yeah,
could contact our organization, TEAMWork Cooperative,
yeah,
and can definitely connect them to me. Or they can also go on the CASE website, the Canadian Association of Supported Employment. You go on that website, and there's links for signing up to be a mentor. There's also on that website a lot of links to a lot of information on if you are wanting to become an inclusive employer. There's a toolkit for employers on there for
Wow.
you can review your HR policies to see if they are inclusive. And if you want to start building more inclusive HR policies, there's a toolkit in there too that can help you with developing inclusive HR policies.
Wow.
There's training that can be had. And we're always interested in talking with employers, and more than happy to provide some support. Anybody who wants to sort of start going down that road of inclusivity, and TEAMWork Cooperative, of course, as well. If there's any employers listening to this and you're interested in going down this road, maybe looking for a little support in that, TEAMWork is a great place to come and get some good information.
Wow, that's really amazing, Dave. That's some huge good resources for the employers as well, for them to stay connected and be to learn how to be inclusive in that way, and also identifying what level of inclusiveness they're bringing to the organization. So that's really good, and it's really good that this mentorship side is really key. I've had so much mentors in so much different areas, and I'm grateful to have mentors from different organizations that help me succeed, and you also get to learn different skills. What are the benefits of an employer mentoring? I think that's really good for employers knowing why to get into this. Yeah.
I look forward to my family's security in the future. That's the main goal as a father.
The empowerment from changing careers has really just made me want to get out of bed in the morning.
I'm looking forward to growing my business. So I want to hire people like I was hired. I want to give guys that chance.
Il me fera plaisir de continuer à travailler avec les immigrants francophones en Nouvelle-Écosse.
I'm looking forward to the financial freedom that I never had before.
Sure. First, we talked a little bit about it exposes the employer to working with a diverse population, but it can also be a really great sort of professional development opportunity, possibly for staff. So maybe it's a particular department in your organization somebody's interested in a mentorship for, that you can use this as a tool for your staff to get comfortable with working with a diverse population. And having some support of an organization like ours, there's nothing better for you to understand your own job than when you have to explain it to somebody else. Like that works out really well. So the employer gets to have that opportunity for the staff to get some exposure for career development, but they're also tapping into the networks that are involved in putting these things together, like TEAMWork Cooperative, like Canadian Association of Supported Employment. We have our MentorAbility program. And our program, it's national. Every province in the country has somebody like me in their province. We also have in Nunavut and the Yukon now, and we just need to get the Northwest Territories. So we have a lot of different perspectives across the country that we can use for problem solving. And I know like one of the sort of strengths or superpowers I call that teamwork is we've always worked and had a very diverse sort of workforce when you walk in. And that has allowed us to come up with a lot of creative solutions to different things. And it's getting those different perspectives in, right? It really works.
Yeah, definitely getting different perspectives are so important. Like I say, teamwork has a lot of creative ways of bringing people to the space. It is really, really important. Gearing towards employees. I know that sometimes persons who are potential clients, potential persons who are seeking for a job, they don't know why getting a mentor is important, how it actually helps them grow. Can you give some benefits of why employees should find mentors, or job seekers in general? Why it's important for them to find mentors? Yeah.
Well, first, it's getting that real world information about a career, and it actually is. And I'll give a little bit of an example. And this goes back to when I was running the ACE program with for youth with disabilities. And every year I would have, a couple of students that would come into the program. They'd be interested in maybe something like computer programming or something like that, which is all great. But I would know from their history that they really, really struggled, say, with mathematics. And to be a computer programmer, you have to be very strong mathematics. So we could say, well, you know what? You're never going to be able to do that job. But or what we could do is, why don't we build the person up and say, listen, why don't we work? Let's see if we can get you to speak with somebody who is a computer programmer and see what the job is actually like. So we would set that up, and it would always come up, what are some of the skills and things like that that are involved in being a computer programmer? And the person would say, well, yeah, it's a lot of mathematics and you have to be really good at math. Every single time the person would go, whoa, I don't even like math. This is not for me. But from that point, usually the person who's computer programmer said, well, you know what? There's some of these other jobs within sort of this field.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be. So now you're talking with someone who knows the whole sort of field.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some other areas in that. So in that case, it's a very positive experience. The person is making a choice for themselves. They're empowered. I found out this isn't the career that I thought it was. And they're also starting to get suggestions on possible other career moves, or in some cases, maybe through the course of the mentorship, the mentor has looked over the person's resume and made some suggestions. You know what? There's some really career-specific information and language that you should probably put in there. So they would make suggestions on that language that they could use and say, well, make those changes and then send it to me and I'll take a look at it again. So they're making sure that the language is good for the types of career that they're interested in.
Wow. And that is just so amazing, Dave. Like, I totally agree that your perspective changes when you have a mentor. Like you say, I never liked math as well, but like I gained that perspective when having mentors who teach me other ways of how I can like math and how I can make it more easier for my life. And never thought that I would have been in employment, because I have a marketing degree. So I never thought that I was going to actually be in employment in some way. But it's always good to explore, and exploring gives you that whole benefit. What do you give? What general tips would you give for people who are exploring and transitioning in different areas of their life? Like, what tips would you give? Like, take risks.
That it can be a very scary time sometimes, and I've done quite a number of transitions through the year. One thing, have yourself a bit of a support network, depending on what you're trying to do, and I'll say again, TEAMWork Cooperative is a pretty good place to start. There's a lot of different types of employment professionals there who, that's all they do every day, is they want to help people succeed in getting employed and helping them navigate. Because these days there's so much information, different programs out there, you're trying to figure that out. So having an organization or something that is on your side and just tickled pink and happy to be working with you and help you move forward in getting your employment sort of career goals kind of thing, that's fantastic. So it's that networking place, and having an organization like TEAMWork is a good first step in that networking. Family's great. Most times family's great. Maybe not always. I think we all can say that. But most times it's great. But, having that sort of third-party, non-biased sort of support, I think is really good. Really good.
Yeah, totally agree. And TEAMWork Cooperative is definitely that a place in all other Nova Scotia work centers, all that good stuff. So thank you so much, Dave. You have shared so much with us.
Can I mention one more thing, though, that we did?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Perfect. Yeah. The other thing that CASE and MentorAbility that we put a lot of time is during the month of October, which is called DEAM, which is Disability Employer Awareness Month. So we do a national campaign, and we have 3 different national campaigns that go on during that month to bring awareness to about the employers that hire persons with disabilities and those employees, and we do a big celebration of it. We've got promotional materials and things that employers can have to download for free in that. We've got a really successful campaign that was developed by the Ontario Disability Employment Network called Light It Up, where nationally we light up buildings and structures in purple and blue, like Niagara Falls, the CN Tower. Here in Halifax, the City Hall, we had a good chunk of the Halifax waterfront lit up this year. So that's the other thing, employers can feel involved, and it's a great way engaging in your community too, right? Going to employers and going around and engaging in some of these activities.
Oh yeah, that's so good that you shared that, because I had a fun time last year when we had our first team event at the Go 3D office, and amazing people just flood the rooms. And employers just came in, advocating and continuing to want to support persons with disabilities. So I look forward to seeing the amazing things that's going to happen this year. I know it's going to be bigger and better because we had the rooms all
fun.
Oh yeah, we all have fun. We all have fun. It's really good to. I love the lit up experience for that way as well. So definitely appreciate that as we continue to go. As we continue to bring forward messages of hope, messages of inspiration. So Dave, we always like to leave a little message of hope, a little message of inspiration for folks at the Neighborhood Conversations. Can you give us a quote, a saying that you have that will help inspire others to move forward?
Well, I guess I'll say something that applies to me, and then I'll tell it why. I live by the motto, it's better done than perfect. So in some situations, you really don't want to have me there.
Yeah.
Particularly, like, you wouldn't want me in an operating room or something like that, because I figure just get it done kind of. But that's why you need a diverse sort of workforce, right? You need a lot different perspectives within your organizations and that. So there's people that can fill in those gaps. So like, anytime I'm writing something really important, that I need to get somebody to take a quick look at that, because I will put this details, but I will get it done, and I will get it done on time.
Wow, Dave, on time is really good for me, and also having diverse other perspective and diverse other people doing other things, because I would not want to be in an operating room as well. I think I would agree. I would want someone else to take care of that, who has the skills and experiences with that, and bringing that into the different spaces. Dave, thank you so much for coming on to the Neighborhood Conversations. We really appreciate you. And we look forward to welcoming you back onto the conversation to talk about more when DEAM events are going to come up. We're going to have some promos for that.
Great. Sure. Really happy to.
Yeah, it'll be really good to connect then. At the Neighborhood Conversations, we strive to bring different conversations, different inclusive tips, and different programs, services that's in community. And we're so happy to have had Dave Wareing from the MentorAbility program with TEAMWork Cooperative. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you at the next conversation.
Thank you.
This podcast is funded by the Government of Nova Scotia.